Hey everybody, you can go to colinmullen.com right now to buy art. Whose? Mine. My name's Colin Mullen. It's just how things work, and you know, it's a good name. It's spelled with one L in Colin and two in Mullen, and I's no E's. I don't know, I've had someone spell it melon once, it was weird. Hey everybody, so before I get started with today's video, I do want to talk about the fact that I'm recording this while I'm waiting for the paint to dry so that way I can finish it. My boss called me into work and I could use the extra hours, so I'm going to try and take that opportunity. But yeah, anyway, it will mean that the audio is maybe a little bit funky, like maybe it's a little bit too long or a little bit too short. I'm going to try and make it work, we'll see. In the meantime, also, I want to talk about this painting specifically. I started it before I went on my vacation, sort of a continuation of the things that I learned from the red painting I did a little while back that still needs to be added to the website now that I think of it. Thought of it while I was getting on the plane and then did nothing about it as soon as I got home because that's how I live my life. Anyway, I will make sure that it's up there along with this one, preferably tomorrow. I'm working on getting a lighting kit. And so right now I do have to wait for sunny days in Texas in order to go outside actually take these pictures. But anyway, let's actually talk about today's subject matter because it's one of the most important questions you need to know the answer to and how to, you know, fix it in your own life, and kind of a critique I have of just the question in general. So here's what happens. Someone goes to an artist they respect and they ask, hey, I'd really like to get good at art, but I don't know where to start. What should I do? And then the artist turns to them and says, you should practice. Practice is what got me here. Practice is good. It's the only way to get good at art. And then the artist walks away feeling like they've helped a new artist to improve their skills, and then the other person feels like they didn't learn anything at all. How is it that happens? Like, practice is how you get good at stuff, right? Like, think about anything you've ever done. Practice is the only way to get good at things. But the problem with that advice is it's not specific enough. It doesn't really give you any way to start. And so what I'm going to give in this video is very general information. Less general than just practice, though you could turn off the video at this point if practice was all you needed to hear. And if it was, then, ooh, it's going to be rough. But what I want to talk about in this video is something that will apply to all 2,000 something people that are subscribed to this channel. Something that allows you to start along your journey, because you may be doing landscapes, you may be doing anime, you may be doing cartoons, you may be doing realism. I don't know. And so what needs to happen in this video is I need to explain how to do an effective practice for whatever you're doing, because I have no way of knowing what that is. So understand that limitation is there, but I will be trying to give you guys tips in the future for more specific things like landscapes or things that I actually know how to do. We'll probably stick away from anime just because I haven't done much of it, and I don't really want to sound like an authority in something that I don't know anything about. Anyway. So what is practice? And I feel like one issue that people who are trying to practice or, you know, trying to take that advice is they believe that it has to be like studying for school. And this is sort of a problem I have with the schooling system in general, at least in America. I don't know how it is elsewhere. But I feel like when people are told to practice, they assume it's like doing their times tables or something, where it has to be dull, monotonous, repetitive, and just keep doing it until it just burrows into your brain. I prefer to think of practice like when you were a kid and you'd ask your parents about something like, where are all these cars going? You know, why is the dog barking? Like, genuine interest and curiosity in the world and trying to discover and understand it. Hang out with a kid and figure out how much of life you've just figured out, because they will ask you some weird stuff. And it's, you know, stuff that you know now. And I think that's kind of how art goes, I guess. I don't know, that sounds a little infantilizing, I guess is the term. My point, though, is that when you're practicing, it should be out of curiosity, out of interest. It should be deliberate. It should be stuff that you're wanting to get better at. And you need to be clinical about it, but it doesn't have to be boring. You know, draw a hand 1,000 times is you know, good work for some people. I find that super dull. But you know what would happen? What, you know, would probably be a side effect of me wanting to draw hands? I'd probably draw a lot of hands. Not because I want to get good at it, but because I like drawing hands. You know, I need to have hands in my work for whatever reason, or what have you. That applies to anything, really. But my point is that, like, regardless of what you do, you need to just do the things that you enjoy doing, and don't tell yourself, oh, I don't, you know, want to do that because I'm not good at it. Challenge yourself to progress. If hands are hard for you, don't stick your character's hands behind their back. Have their hands out. Show them, draw them. You're gonna suck at it, but do it anyway. I can give more specific tips. I probably will have a video on hands at one point or another, but as far as like that goes, that is one thing that helps. Additionally, if you're on that first level, that first tier of doing art, maybe just, you know, maybe what you need to learn is color theory, or maybe you need to learn line weight or composition. I will have videos on that eventually as well. But something that helps me out quite a bit was trying not to learn all of that at once and separating it out. For instance, color was really difficult for me to learn. And so when I first started doing art, when I first really started dedicating my time and effort and life to it, I didn't do color. I wanted to learn those other things first, so that way, even if the color was a little wonky, at least everything else was right. And it's maybe a bit of a crutch, but maybe if you're at that early tier, you can kind of accept that in of it yourself. I know that sounds like contradictory advice to the hand thing I just said, but like, I learned how to do form right. I learned how to do drawings, that way I could see what I saw and then repeat that on a page. In a similar sort of way, maybe just like what you need to do is just simplify down what you're trying to learn. You know, if color is difficult for you because you're also trying to figure out all these other things, maybe just focus on that. I did a lot of abstract work, which is I think how I was able to figure out color at all, was that I took color theory stuff and then I just put colors on, you know, this was back when I was doing more digital work, into things and tried to make it work, you know, and I wasn't really concerned about being representative or what have you. By doing that, by separating out those two things into separate things that I was trying to do, it made that once I finally got them decently and I combined them, my art showed that I had a decent understanding of both of those things. Because composition in of itself is hard enough to figure out, but while you're trying to figure that out and also color, it's like, what went wrong here? Is it the composition? Is it the color? Is it the lines? Is it the subject matter? What is going on with this? If you can simplify it down so you know the thing that's wrong with this is that I just can't draw hands, or that color pink does not look good next to any other color that I like. It simplifies things down enough that you could actually progress. So that's another tip, is just focus on the things that you want to focus on, the things that you're bad at, do them, but do them while you're doing something you enjoy. And lastly, I do want to say this, I think the master copy is one of the best practice tools that is available. It is easy enough to explain and it applies to everyone. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit. What is the master practice and how do you do it? So what you do is you take someone that you like. So if you're huge into it, like Da Vinci, you choose one of his works and then you copy that stroke for stroke. This applies to you regardless of what you do. If you like anime, literally go find something that one of your favorite artists did and copy a frame of the animation or what have you. Draw it line perfect, you know? Paint it stroke perfect. If they did a little swoop at the end of something, you do a little swoop at the end of something. And so on and so forth. And then you can look at their work, not only as a comparison, like how different is what I did versus what they did? Where did I fail? Where did I succeed? You know, look at it that way, but you can also look at it and go, why did they do that? you know, sometimes we don't have interviews with those artists, so there's no way of knowing that information. But sometimes there are, and they will straight up tell you, like Jackson Pollock will be like, oh, well, you know, I did it that way so that way you could see the movement of my arm as I was doing it. Cool. I don't care for it, but, you know, cool. But, you know, for older artists or artists that don't like to talk about their process, it's a way of learning from them directly. Because they've built up that skill, that repertoire, to the point that people like their stuff. You like their stuff. So you can learn that, whatever they know, from copying their work. That doesn't mean you should sell that. That just means that you should learn from their example and go, cool. Don't trace, by the way. You need to do this freehand. And that is hard. That's the point. But it'll teach you the things that you want to know about whatever artist that is. And you'll learn, like, oh, weird, they always have this color purple against this color blue, or they always draw in really sharp angled lines. I wouldn't have noticed that had I not drawn it out myself. It requires a certain level of precision that just glancing at art doesn't. If you want to take this a step further, once you've done this on two separate artists, combine their styles and go, what if so-and-so did this other person's thing? You know, what if Da Vinci started copying Van Gogh, you know, and started doing his brush strokes like Van Gogh did? What would that look like? Then you're doing something by yourself with your own, you know, skills that you've learned from them. And then you can combine that into something new and wholly original. Again, it's a little bit weird to try and sell that, but, you know, that is your original work based on the knowledge that you've got off of them at that point. It's a good way of picking up new skills. I feel like these sharp angles in this particular painting are because of me doing the stuff where I learned about cubism over the last month or so, or a couple months, I guess. Jeez. And I go, I really like that aesthetic. I really like those sharp lines. I think it's much more dynamic. And so, you know, I started implementing that thing that I learned. Like, why was I so entranced with the cubism stuff that I was seeing? Apparently, it was those sharp lines and the dull color. What happens if I have the poppy color that I like? The sharp, the bright blues and the reds and the yellows that I, you know, implement in all my works. What happens when I, you know, do that instead? And the result is something that I really like. Art is experimentation. Allow yourself to have that freedom to experiment and allow yourself to do those things, and then you will find that your art is better for it. I'm gonna link to the last couple of videos because they're both relevant to this one, like last video and then the one from a month ago where I did the one that I've kind of learned whatever, the red guy that I did. I'm gonna try and make sure that he's up on the website. I think I said that in this recording. Don't know. We'll see. This one hopefully will also be up on the website, but we will see. Anyway, here's the part of the video where I'm supposed to thank the people who have come and supported me on Patreon. Everyone who's at the $5 tier or more. As I've said before, and I think I said in this recording, anyone who's at the $10 tier, I'm also giving critique ups, you know, short little video that critiques their work. If you're interested in that, I'm going to try and open up an extra couple of slots. If you're in that tier and you have not sent me any art, please do. So that way I can actually, like, you know, do my job and help you out in the way that you need to be helped out. But anyway, let's start with Tilda, my fiance. Thank you for the support. You really don't have to do that, honey. Thank you, Plex, for the continued support. Thank you, Flenexia Theoran, for the support. Thank you, Wap Fu. Thank you, Mafia. You are cool. You're a good dude. Thank you, TBG Keru. You're also a good dude. But, you know, I know Mafa from being my mod forever, but you're all good dudes. Yeah. Thank you, Doozer, for the support. I wonder if that's a Fraggle Rock reference. Been watching that a lot recently. Thank you, Gur-X Mistress, for the support as well. I hope this video has been helpful. Like I said, I'm going to continue to work on this and have more videos about how to practice, but hopefully this has amounted to something that you learned from and you can implement at least one of these ideas into your own practice rather than just hearing the simple phrase, go practice. But seriously, go practice. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.